Welcome to our March Town Hall for the Texas Forward Party. As you can see, for some reason this year, a lot of our town halls land on some type of holiday or event. So for those that imbibe and celebrate St. Patrick's Day, I hope you had a wonderful day, and I'm also glad that you joined us. All right, so let's hop in. As always, as a reminder, we are a values-based party. We believe everyday Americans should be able to decide what's best for them and their communities. That's why we're building a party that puts the power back into the American voter. And that means that we are bottoms up, not top down. And this is something that as we think about our path forward and the type of candidates and actions we take, it is great to see this in action. It's also great to hear how this impacts our communities and others as they think about both politics and how parties interact with them. On the call tonight, we've got several of these faces, several of these county chairs. As mentioned last time, Rick handed the reins over to this leadership team. I don't know if he's hopping on tonight, but we do have one new name on the board, and that's Mr. Jack D. Foster Jr. down in Chambers. So welcome to him as a new county chair. You'll notice there are 11 dots on the board. We did have Mr. John Keller for health reasons and just to step down and let someone else take it over in Tarrant County. He wants to be a precinct chair. I can't say enough for everything John has done for the Forward Party. And as we build out in Tarrant County in the months ahead, a lot of that is based on the work and the commitment he's been doing here for years on the Forward Party. So we're not sad to see him go because he's not going anywhere, but we also wish him the best as he goes through and continues to work through supporting the Forward Party. Along with these names, along with these faces, and we'll talk a little bit more around the other leaders in the party. Tonight on the call, we also have Mike Collier, Veronica Williams, and William Taggart joining us on the call, and they are going to share their stories with us shortly. So this, as mentioned in e-blasts and communications, I'm not sure if we've had 3 candidates join us on a town hall before. But I'm going to say it's a first, and I'm excited. I'm stoked. Lots more to come, but so grateful to be able to have candidates like Mike, Veronica, and William join us tonight. So on the agenda, we're going to go over our precinct conventions, which was a focus for the last couple of weeks. We're going to talk about lifting up independence, and we're going to hear from those 3 candidates. We're going to talk about the state convention that's right around the corner. I want to talk a little bit around all of those out there that don't have a county chair, that are in counties that we were calling them non-organized counties, but that sounded a little bit not as positive as emerging counties. So you are out in emerging counties, we have an answer for you. And then we'll talk a little bit about getting involved, stepping up. I will make my plea to this group and anyone that joins us and watches this video after the fact. So with that, here are the results from our very first organizing conventions. I do have to say, what an exciting week last week and the weekend going into it was. Just both the energy and just seeing in action our supporters that are willing to step up. So here's some of the numbers. We had 8 counties that held county precinct conventions, and they're really organizing conventions. They're not nominating conventions for candidates. Out of those conventions, we had 40 Forward Party members, so that's supporters that took the oath of affiliation. We had 22 precinct and county vice chairs that stepped up to lead. That means we have 8 county executive committees, and 31 individuals said they are committed to come to the state convention here in Austin to be delegates to participate in Forward Party business. That's 8 counties. That's over 50 leaders in some capacity that now have taken on additional responsibility to help move the Forward Party forward and also lift up independent candidates, independent thinkers. And we're just getting started. We have a couple other individuals that have indicated they're interested in being county chairs. We have a handful of you on the call and also that have reached out that want to be precinct chairs in these emerging counties. Along with the numbers, this is awesome. A lot of us did virtual calls, but up in Williamson, Vicki and her team of leaders did in person. And I think maybe, I'm not sure if they had one person dial in, but I just love this. They had purple cauliflower, purple carrots. They had purple cupcakes. They were Fix the Future cupcakes. And, you know, getting a group together, and we had a couple county conventions that there were just 2 people that joined. And when I say just 2 people, a lot of people would be like, that doesn't sound like much of a convention or a party. But those are 2 leaders in that county that now are building out their operations in that county and committed to operating as a organized county. So starting small, whether it's a precinct chair, a local organizer, or a county chair and a vice chair, we now have grown our leadership team 3-fold from where we were at last month. And this is a huge thing to celebrate. Couldn't be more excited. We already saw it in action. I'm going to talk about it in Travis County. We have precinct chairs that have already helped us further along our operations and the things that we need to get done here in Travis County. It's just amazing. So with that, as we talk about how we get to the state convention, I do want, for those that have been here for a while, to reflect the things that we have been doing for the last couple of years to get to this point. Has been a lot of work. It's been a lot of coordinating, organization. But as we bring more people in and as we look to support candidates, the power that we have from those years and that groundwork that has been built by Rick and others is just phenomenal. And we wouldn't have gotten here without that work that was done in 22, 23, 24, and last year. So going from there, now we are ready to rally behind independent candidates. This is one of my favorite slides. This is one of my favorite graphics. Last month, I talked about the moment that we're in and why it's such a key moment for independence. And so tonight, along with what's going on at National, along with us getting our leadership group organized and ready for ground game, we're going to focus on now rallying behind independent candidates for the 2026 cycle. And this is huge because, again, in the past, we rallied behind 1 or 2 candidates. We're focused on just ballot access for the Texas Ward Party. This year, we're focused on learning on how to get candidates on the ballot and how to get them to win their general election as we build up for 27 and 2028. So before I hand the floor over to Mike, Veronica, and William, this is the list. So this is the field of all the independents that filed with the Secretary of State here in 2026 for partisan races. We organized it based on the geographical regions that we're starting to organize our counties in. You will see a few names there, but tonight we've got Veronica, William, and Mike here to speak to us. And then we may even have a couple folks here listening in that are on this list if our affiliation and candidate endorsement team did their job and encouraged a couple candidates to come listen in and learn more about the Forward Party. So we'll hand it off. I'm going to hand it off to Mike, then Veronica, and then William. They're going to each take about 5 minutes, no more. I'd ask everyone to hold off asking questions out loud. You are welcome to put questions in the chat. Mike, William, and Veronica are welcome to stay all the way to the end if they have the time, and we can do some Q&A then. And as you'll find out, this will not be the last time we'll be hearing from them. So by all means, this is just an introduction. And so with that, I'll hand it off to Mike Collier. Thank you for joining us, Mike.
Well, thank you very much, Brandon. You can hear me okay? The microphone's working properly? Well, listen, thank you everyone for joining this evening, letting me join you. My name is Mike Collier, running for Lieutenant Governor, which is the president of the Texas Senate. Let's make sure that we know lieutenant governor is not like the vice president, just waiting. Lieutenant governor in our Constitution is president of the Texas Senate, which is a very, very powerful position. I ran against Dan Patrick twice. Once in 2018 because I became very close. Had to do it 4 years later. I raised much more money in the second time around, and more than I want to say 7.5 million times did Texans go to the polls to vote for me against Dan Patrick. I came out in the high 40% each time. So that was enough for me. I didn't really need to run a third time. However, I'm very concerned about our country, and particularly what we saw in 2025 and the direction we're going. My personal opinion is the two-party system will not recover. The dynamics inside both parties is to take them further and further away from those of us in the middle. And I decided that I was going to do something. So I thought it made a whole lot of sense to me to go back after Dan Patrick and finish the job. It's an election that I can win. I did a poll this summer, and without getting into too much details, I can tell you, without mentioning my name, but just Dan Patrick versus a Democrat versus a businessman independent, I came very close to 30% without anybody knowing who I was. And now with some campaign time and some resources, we're going to take this fight to Dan Patrick, and I think I can beat him. Now, why independent? First of all, I've known Rick Kennedy for a long time, and I am very enthusiastic about the Forward Party. So in my mind, there's more happening here than just Mike Collier trying to promote himself to win this election, which is very important to me. I'm not in this for any reason other than to win, except in addition to that, we have to solve a problem we have in our country. And when I look at the Forward Party representing independent-minded people whose platform is based on principles that we all agree with, writ large in our Constitution and our founding fathers, I see that as the path. So I'm very enthusiastic. And what I said to Brandon and what I said to Rick is, I've got to raise 82,000 signatures. And by the way, there's an awful lot of folks in the public education. It may seem like a lot, but there's 500,000 retired teachers. And they're where the public education community is very, very concerned about where we're headed. I'm passionate about that from the beginning of my political effort. So the point is, win or lose, we're going to run hard at rounding up 82,000 signatures, which is what's needed to get on the ballot. And you guys have been working on this a long time, and so I'm piling into it and helping. And together we're going to build up the database and the know-how and the structure so that in addition to the right answer that we want for Lieutenant Governor in November, we also know how to get 82, or it'll be 85 or 90,000 signatures in 2028 so that the Forward Party has a permanent position on the ballot. And so my commitment to you is, in exchange for all the help I can get, now you'll have all the help I can get to achieve that really important objective, which is to get a candidate on the ballot, a Forward candidate on the ballot in 28, more than 5% of the vote, secures the Forward Party candidate on the ballot in perpetuity. So really the only other thing I want to say is, what do I care about? Public education. There are a lot of people that are very, very angry with Dan Patrick, particularly in East and West Texas. And by the way, in all of my campaigning, I'd meet people in East and West Texas, Republicans, and they would say, boy, Mike, if you were just an independent, I'd vote for you. And that's the funny thing about a two-party system. Well, now's your chance. So we're going to be campaigning very, very hard on that. We're going to be campaigning very, very hard on what I think is unfairness in our property tax system. And so in 5 minutes, I can't dive into the details. I'll just tell you that I've made my living as an auditor, and going in and unwinding these problems and holding people to task and solving financial problems is right up my alley. And so we can't have lower property taxes and have great public schools. Term limits, I think, are absolutely essential, and there's a number of reforms that I'm very passionate about. And then I think when it comes to social policy, freedom matters a lot. I want to keep the government out of many of the decisions that we have to make. Some of them are hard decisions. And I think that the Republicans, for example, are too much in our world and making decisions on our behalf. And so I'm very much into freedom individual responsibility. And I've signed the pledge because the principles that underpin the Forward Party, I am very, very much on board with. And I'm pleased to report I have friends who are Democrats and Republicans around the state. We are in the majority. So this is all about making sure that the majority of Texans have a voice. So if I had more time, I'd say a lot more. But I'm going to stick around. And if we end up with question and answer session in the back, I'm happy to answer them. But I'm just, I couldn't be happier that we're working together. And I'm as committed to the Forward Party as the Forward Party is committed to helping me. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. All right, up next, I'm going to turn the floor over to Veronica Williams. Are you there, Veronica?
I am here. Thank you, Brandon. And a big hello to Texas Forward Party members. I'm Veronica Williams, and I'm the independent candidate running for Congress, Texas District 23. I'm sure all of you would like to know why I'm running for Congress. You see, as a mental health professional, I get to hear what makes my community members angry, anxious, and fearful. And I got to tell you guys that it's things like the economy, healthcare, and the inhumane ICE raids. And to be honest with you, it's their family's future. So I'm running to ease their anxieties by addressing head-on the need for an economy that is beneficial for all and not just the wealthy. I'm running to advocate for universal health care for all Americans. Along our district's border, too many Americans cross the southern border into Mexico to get their dental and medical needs met. We are the richest nation on this planet, and we have endless monies for wars, but not to take care of our own citizens when it comes to healthcare. As a Navy veteran, I'm running to say no to the war with Iran, future forever wars. Our service members are not sacrificial land. I say, let's bring back our sailors, our Marines, our soldiers, and our airmen. My fellow independent thinkers, please join me in this movement. A movement that doesn't manipulate the masses into moving right or left. Let's move forward together with our values. I'm talking about respect, integrity, and compassion. Now, if you reside in my District 23 and you didn't participate within the recent primaries, I'm humbly asking you to sign my petition. I need to gather 500 signatures, and I'm pretty sure Mike is saying that's going to be easy compared to mine. So, with that said, please reach out to me via my website at veronicagwilliams.com. Lastly, I can't wait to meet all of you on April 11th for our Texas Party Inaugural State Convention in Austin. So, Brandon, I hope I made you proud because I kept this short. Thank you, everyone, for allowing me the pleasure to be here with all of you. Back to you, Brandon.
Thank you so much, Veronica. And yes, we look forward to hearing when you will be able to start collecting those signatures. So maybe we can talk about that during the Q&A.
Absolutely.
All right. Last but not least, and also the candidate we know the most here at the Forward Party, our friend and longtime member here at the Forward Party until his run for Congress, Mr. Taggart, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Brandon. So 2 years ago in January, I released a book, Fixing America. And that book it was an engineer's look at our social, cultural, and political problems. Without emotion, without politics, what are the answers? And in looking at that, the biggest thing that jumped out to me was you need more moderates in Congress. You need independent moderates in the middle. The Republicans have moved to the far right. The Democrats have moved to the far left. We were doing a voter meet and greet on Sunday, and I was asked repeatedly, why didn't I run in the Republican primary? Why didn't I run in the Democratic primary? The answer was simple. I wouldn't have won. I mean, look at Dan Crenshaw. He was not MAGA enough in District 2. And the reality is Chris Bell ran in the governor's race, and he lost quite seriously. So the Republican and Democratic primaries have become too extreme. The gerrymandering is a direct result of that. And as a result, I chose to run as an independent. And I'm in the same boat as Veronica. I've got to gather those 500 signatures. Veronica hopefully can start a little earlier than me. I've got a Republican runoff, so I won't start till May 27th. If you know anyone that lives in the 38th district, please have them contact me. Love to sign them up and have them ready to sign up on May 27th. If you know anybody who wants to help collect signatures, we're going to pay people to help do that work because we're only going to have a shorter window to do it in. My big issues that I'm running on is the budget. We are $38 trillion in debt. By the end of the year, we will be $40 trillion in debt. The Social Security Trust Fund will run out in 6 to 7 years. When that happens, all the seniors will take a 24% cut in their benefit checks. Nobody is talking about those two issues because they're waiting for the crisis to try and do something. Well, I'm an engineer. My firm belief is fix it now. Fix it before it becomes a crisis. Fix it before you have senior citizens who can't afford their housing, who can't afford their drugs, who can't afford a lot of things. It is foolish to wait till the last minute to do something. And as a result, my big goal is to go to Congress and to work on those issues and to focus on those issues and to develop a balanced budget, even if no one else will listen to me, to have it in place. So the moment we have a financial hiccup, we have a balanced budget that we can take into hand and put to use. And that's what I'm going to go do. There's other issues that's on my website, and I'm happy to discuss any issue with you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, William. Thank you, Veronica. Thank you, Mike. Again, you guys are welcome to stick around. We'll have a little bit of time at the end for Q&A. This is absolutely great. I can see in our future having a town hall for each of them and anyone that wants to come ask them questions and get to know them more. I think Mike said he'd like to get to know us more as well. I can see that being something that we're all going to get accustomed to as we progress through signature petition gathering and then get ready for the general. All right, I'm going to blow through these slides so we can get to some Q&A. Let's talk state convention. A couple really exciting things have happened since the last time we met. One, we did the Precinct County Convention meetings, so now we have delegates. We've added an emerging counties convention so that we can have a method for those of you in the other 46 counties that didn't have county conventions. If you want to step up and be a local organizer or be a delegate, you can. And so on the 10th and 11th of April in Austin, we are going to be at, I call it a very eclectic neighborhood lodge. It used to be an elk lodge here in Austin. It is a neighborhood treasure. It does have a swimming pool outside. I don't know how many state conventions and political parties feature a swimming pool, but ours will. And the most important thing, and I know we've talked about this in the past, this is meant to be a big tent event. It's meant to be a community event. It's meant to lift up independent thinkers, but it's also to welcome anybody who values the forward party values. So this is not a members only club. This is welcome to the general public for our reception, as well as the AM sessions where we will hear from keynote speaker and from candidates, after which then we'll move into party business. These details are out at the website. The High Road is right behind Terry Black's in downtown Austin on the south side of the river. It is going to be a great event, and it's going to be even greater because we've already lined up more than 50% of our speakers. So joining us at the state convention during that general public session, we'll have a keynote address by our founding co-chair, Governor Christine Todd Whitman. We couldn't be more excited to have her joining us. We've got Mike, William, and Veronica joining us. And we've got 3 more slots where we will put in other independent candidates, partners, but we will have a full slate of speeches. If we could, I bet you we probably could fill the entire morning and the entire afternoon with some of the candidates that have been reaching out to us. This is beyond exciting that in the course of the last couple of weeks, this has come together. And this is one example. Last week on the precinct convention, we still had not locked in our location. And one of our precinct chairs who lives in the neighborhood next to me said, what about the high road? And I was like, there's no way we can get into the high road. And because who we are as a forward party, our mission, our values, and maybe because also we're 30 days out, they gave us a very good deal to be able to spend our convention with them. So I couldn't be more ecstatic to have these speakers. I couldn't be more ecstatic to have that location. And Travis County, Ed Graham, the precinct chairs, we're going to be working very hard to make sure that this convention is something that not only is memorable for the first time, but it also really speaks to why the Forward Party is different and welcoming all community members to come and join us. So here's one of my first call to actions. Help us get the word out. We've got these post ups. You can go to our Texas Forward Party /print page, print a couple of them, put them around coffee shops, put them around your neighborhood, see if you can get some interest. We will have another post up once we finish the slate of speakers to encourage people to come join us for that general session. And then lastly, one of our newly appointed precinct chairs, Missy Bledsoe, is organizing a fun run and walk at the CAP 10K on Sunday. For anyone that sticks around or is nearby, we will be walking the CAP 10K in our purple. We'll hand out some cards. We'll have a little bit of fun. So I'd really encourage, if you're interested, please sign up, join us. I'm going to bring my 2 kids. We're going to walk it. We're going to have a blast. So save the dates. I'm going to talk real quick here on the emerging counties. And I'll put one more plug. If you have event planning, media experience, you've got connections in Austin for Canopy Tents, because this is an outdoor venue for part of it, reach out to us. We'll take any help we can get. You can contact us at volunteer@texasforwardparty.org, or you can reach out directly to me. If you haven't RSVP'd yet, you can go to the Join the Party page. There are more details out on that page. All right, so that Emerging Counties Convention, real quick, being a precinct chair in an emerging county is a lonely thing if you don't have a county chair and you don't have friends and family. So an organized county, we've been talking a lot about it, is a county chair. They have a partner in crime, a county vice chair, and at least 1 or 2 precinct chairs. In a lot of our other emerging counties, we've got people that have asked, hey, can I be a precinct chair? Can I be a delegate? We're going to make those counties work a little bit harder and not skirt not having a county chair. So you'll be a local organizer until you become a county chair or you find someone to be a county chair. And the way to do that is between now and the end of the month, we'll be reaching out to everyone that indicated they want to be precinct chairs or a delegate at the state convention. We've scheduled 3 events. They're all virtual, different dates, ranges of time. Becky's hosting the Sunday afternoon one for anyone that evenings might be hard to do. The combination of Becky, myself, other executive committee members and county chairs will be there for anyone that wants to become a state convention delegate and or take the oath to become a Forward Party member. You can join any of these. And if you want to step up to be the equivalent of a precinct chair, you can nominate yourself. You will get a sponsor from either one of the county chairs in your region or someone on the executive committee. And when your county gets a county chair, they can promote you from local organizer to a precinct chair. So check it out. I really encourage, if you're interested in being a neighborhood captain, taking a leadership role, and you're in one of our emerging counties, this is a great way to get involved and make some connections with other leaders in counties over or on our executive committee. Finally, if you have passion, and more importantly, if you have time, now is the time to step up and lead. And I want to share this with you. I put a lot of time into the Forward Party right now because I'm passionate about the change and the impact we can make. I don't know if I can do it for another 2.5 years at this velocity in this amount of time. I was up late last night, up early this morning. I think I can do it I can keep running but I need help. Becky and myself spend a lot of time. And so I'm making a plea for those that maybe are retired, in between jobs, have a day a week and skills related to some of these roles that I'm going to be talking about, to consider coming and joining us and helping us take this startup from something wonderful to something amazing that goes statewide. So as Rick mentioned last time, this will be our first time in Texas Forward history where we elect our officers by convention. It's a state chair, a vice chair, a secretary, and a treasurer. Please consider these roles. We'll take multiple nominations. We will talk about it. We'll figure out what works for our leadership team. But between now and the convention, we will fill these 4 roles and we will elect them on April 11th. Along with that, in the lead up to the convention, we are introducing new leadership roles. We still have to update our bylaws, so our executive committee will be working on that between now and the convention. But we will be introducing executive level committee chairs, formalizing these. Currently, we have 1 leader that is in policy, and that's Brent Veazey. And all our other ECC roles are being filled by someone like myself, Becky, or others that are wearing multiple hats. It would be great to find someone to step up and wear that hat so that we can spread some of this workload. We also are going to be introducing regional ECCs or regional chairs. Anyone who is a county chair or a county vice chair can step into the role to be the coordinator of their region. For example, Ed, myself, Vicky, we're down in the Capital Region. Becky and John Flood and Jack D. Foster are down in the Gulf Coast. For us to scale, we need to start thinking regionally, and this will be a really key role to help coordinate in those regions and also provide support to our emerging counties. And then finally, we're going to be introducing a political board of advisors. So we're going to introduce a political board. We will have 1 exec chair that represents them, and this will be individuals that have political experience. We are asking for a certain number of years in politics, running for office related to it, so that you can help bring your experience and guidance to the Texas Forward Party. If you're interested, scan the QR code. There's a form that'll ask which roles are you interested, provide a little bit of information, and myself or someone on the executive committee will reach out. Moving forward, real quick on some call to actions. 1, support ballot access. Volunteer to be contacted, volunteer to help out. The Forward Party will be helping independent candidates, but the other way that you can help them, the quickest, fastest, most efficient way is go directly to their website, volunteer. If you're in their district, if you're in Texas, you can go pledge for Mike right now. If you're in Veronica or Williams district, you can go pledge for them, but you can also sign up to volunteer, and you don't have to be in their district to help them volunteer. If you have any questions, you're going to be hearing a lot more about it. One of our sessions at the state convention is going to be how to appropriately support candidates for signature gathering and signature petition. I showed this list of candidates before. Our affiliation and candidate endorsement team has been reaching out to quite a few of the candidates on this list. If you know anyone that is running as an independent and you feel they share Forward Party values, drop us a note, let us know that this is a candidate we should definitely talk to. If you also know a candidate on the list that you feel don't embody Forward Party values, we're happy to hear that as well. I'll tell you, we've got about another 5 or 6 people on this list that are actively talking to us right now. And so anything we can do to lift up other independent thinkers, other independent candidates is going to be net good for Texas, because more voices on the ballot, more voices in the political discourse is good for everyone. Party convention helps spread the awareness, especially for the general admission portion of the convention. Post up flyers, invite friends to the AM session. If you know any like-minded organizations, encourage them to reach out to us. We will allow them, we will allow them to table. They're welcome to join. We really do want to make this an event that groups that are focused on nonpartisan and independent politics can flourish, network, and benefit from us getting together in Austin. You can also go to our print page and you're going to find the material that you can print yourself or order, texasforwardparty.org/print. And then finally, volunteer. If you haven't volunteered yet, raise your hand, let us know. We will start to have a lot on our plate between now and the end of June to get independents on the ballot, and that energy is going to roll into the general. So please consider volunteering. And if you don't have the time, you're not able to contribute in that fashion, please consider giving us a donation, both for outreach, preparing for the convention. We have had a great growth in the number of prospects and supporters of the Texas Forward Party. We really want to make the convention and our activities here something special as we lead into the spring and get ready for the general here in November. So any contribution that you can provide, whether it's one-time or recurring, is going to be well spent and also scrutinized, because Miss Neely does not let us spend money unless we are very frugal. All right, with that, I know we're at 6:42. I told my wife that I would be up at the top of the hour, so I have time. I'm okay to run long. Let's open it up to Q&A. I don't know if there's someone that's been monitoring chat, but I'm happy to open the floor. I would say please raise your hand. We'll moderate it that way. And then Becky, if you see anything in the chat that you want to ask as a question, feel free to roll it out there as well. Any questions from the group?
There is a question on the chat from Ruby Madrid to Veronica Williams. Your website states enough is enough with corruption. How do you plan not to fall into corruption?
Thank you so much for your question. As a mental health professional, I know that any human being can get addicted to power and money. It doesn't matter if you are an independent, a Republican, or a Democrat. Any human being is susceptible to this. With that in mind, I believe in term limits. So you're not going to see me, if elected, run and serve for 15, 20, 30, 40 years. So I'm going to self-impose a boundary and not run more than 2 to 3 terms if possible, if my voters allow it. Number 2, when I have access to insider trading information, I pledge to you that I will not engage in trading in the stock market. In this way, I maintain myself incorruptible. So thank you very much for that question.
All right, Zane.
Hi, I talked to William over email about this, but I'd love to just put it out here in this forum. There is a social media account started by this person called Stalking the Capitol, essentially tracking, how the financial assets of people in Congress. And they have a political integrity pledge. And I want to ask both of you, Veronica and William, whether you'd be able to take that pledge and commit to the commitments on it, which is 1, take no corporate PAC money, 2, support a congressional stock trading ban, 3, support a lobbying ban for former members of Congress, and then 4, overturn Citizens United.
Yes, I'm more than willing to take that pledge. I think you'll also be happy to hear that on my website, when you hit donation button, you will see that I spell it out very clearly. I do not take corporate money and I don't take APAC funds. So yes, absolutely, I will definitely sign that pledge.
I would sign it as well. I have no problem with that. The book Fixing America has a whole chapter on dark money where I say exactly the same thing. We've got to get Citizens United overturned. Now, Zane, you got to put the link in the chat so we know how to find it.
John. All right, John, I think you're off mute now. Nope. All right. Well, if John, if you want to see if you can get off of mute, come back in. Otherwise, put your question in the chat. Any other questions? I mean, if you don't want to ask Mike or William or Veronica anything, we can talk about party business. You know, that's cool. Yeah, Ed.
This is a question for Mike. You've ran a couple times for the lieutenant governor. I'm curious, through that, I'm sure you've got some thoughts on how to execute the job. How prepared do you feel you are for the role?
That's a great question, Ed. It's quite a role. But let me put it to you this way. You cannot prepare any harder than I have across a decade. The job of the lieutenant governor is really what he or she makes of it. As lieutenant governor, it's really the Senate decides how they're going to vote. The lieutenant governor decides what they're going to vote on. And the lieutenant governor can also decide who sits on what committees and steer what legislation. The way I like to look at it is the lieutenant governor who knows what they're doing. Whatever the lieutenant governor wants, he gets, and whatever he doesn't like, it doesn't happen. Now, there's only a few things that I am really, really passionate about, other than good legislation that's fair, and you deal with it as it comes your way. We have a lot of problems we have to solve. We have a water problem that we have to solve. That's probably the one infrastructure problem that concerns me the most. Unlike power, you need more power, you go make more power. Of course, it has to be fair, and the people that use it pay for it. And I'm very worried about that. But you can't go make water. I mean, you can, but it's unbelievably expensive to see satellites. We have those that we have to solve, and we have to stay in front of all those things. And, if we're going to be an economic powerhouse, those are important issues, and I look forward to making sure that it's smart and fair. But when I wake up in the morning and say, what lasting legacy do I want to have, is to drive home the point and win the argument that we must have great public schools because that's where the students are. 5.5 million students in the state, only 300,000 in private schools. Vouchers are going to create no choice. Vouchers will not create choice for the millions and millions of students. We get one crack at educating them. So to the pro-choice crowd, here's what I say. I want public schools to be a great choice. And there's a lot of work associated with that. And coupled with that, property taxes has to be fair. It isn't fair. And we'll get into plenty of time between now and November to discuss that. I think in terms of Roe v. Wade, we are now toiling under an abortion ban, and a ban is bad, very bad. And many Republicans agree with me on that. We have to reopen that issue, in my opinion. And I do believe that my point of view, which is a moderate point of view, a common sense point of view, is in the majority. And then finally, I despise corruption. I mean, I despise it with every fiber in my being. That's why I've enjoyed being an auditor for so many years. And when I think about corruption and what's corrupted our political world, I think about the need for term limits, gerrymandering, campaign finance reform. What you're going to hear me campaign on is term limits, because that's one of the three, but that's the one that everybody understands, no explaining involved. It's 3 syllables. You can fire it, folks. You hear me talk about term limits, but I think gerrymandering and campaign finance reform are what's destroying our democracy. So I'll have a handful of things that I'm very passionate about. Everything else, let's just make sure that it makes sense and it's fair.
All right. Thanks, Mike. Becky, you're up.
I wanted to read some questions that have popped up in the chat, and these look like these are all questions for Mike. So you are on the hot seat, buddy. The question from John Flood, when he couldn't get his microphone to work, was, where do you stand on school choice and vouchers?
Well, I was opposed to vouchers for a long time, and now we're stuck with them, at least to the $1 billion level. The question is, what are we going to get for our money? The reason why I'm opposed to it is that if you look at other states, it hasn't worked. It has a result of reducing the quality of education in total and pulling money away from public schools. And so it just isn't smart. So the way we approach this is we now have vouchers. We have $1 billion, but that's it. And we're going to have some couple of years of experience. And the auditor in me is going to audit. I want to know where every penny of that goes. If they can show me that this is creating a better outcome for some students and it's fair, fine. But if all this is shifting money from working families to affluent families and not creating choice for anybody, I don't feel right about that. And I'm very concerned about money going through the voucher system and landing in places where we're not getting the benefit of it as taxpayers. So my feeling about vouchers is complicated. I love them. My goal isn't to take them completely off the table. But what I am passionate about is public education has to be a great choice. And I see those two as two very different. I'd also love to hear what others think. John, I'd love to hear what you think.
Well, I have a follow-on question of mine regarding that, Mike, and that is the way that the law is currently written for the voucher program is that public schools by law do not have to report their assessment results, whereas public schools are under a microscope every year when testing is done, and private schools don't have to do that. Is there a way to maybe push that forward and change that to where you do see the value you're getting for your dollar?
Oh, absolutely. That's absolutely essential. Vouchers might die on their own if we insist that every private school meet the same requirements as public school. Testing is one example. First of all, I'm against high stakes testing, but I do think that all schools have to be, the testing regime can be dramatically improved. Testing students once a year in a high stakes test is just an absolute disaster. It's an absolute disaster. If you talk to employers, if you talk to college professors, they tell you that critical thinking skills in our state are collapsing. And I think tests are a part of that. So we can talk all day long about tests.
Right.
But,
all right. Tyson Neal has a couple of questions for you. The first one, I think I know the answer to that, and that's, is it right that you cannot collect signatures until after the Republican Party runoff? And I think that's true.
It's the Democrats that have a runoff in this race.
Okay.
And so that's true. I can't collect signatures. What I can do is communicate with folks who didn't vote in the primary and let them know I'm running. Maybe hopefully they'll go to my website, sign up and say, okay, call me on the 26th, 27th of May, and I'll sign your petition.
Right.
And then I have 30 days, it's under 30 days to round up 82,000 signatures. God help me.
And the next question, actually, it might be a good question for Brandon, and that is, how can you find the list of independent candidates that you just showed on the slide? Do you have a link for that, Brandon, or can you just simply send out the slide?
I will provide a link when we send out the video, and I foresee us sending it out in one of our email roundups as well. So we'll make sure to get that out there. And Tyson, if you want, you can contact me directly or the candidate support team. So you can contact me at brandon.david@texasforwardparty.org, or you can contact candidate.support@texasforwardparty.org. Great question.
All right.
Looks like Zane.
I think Zane is up next.
Yeah, I have another question. I have a question for Mike. So you ran as a Democrat before. How do you anticipate kind of overcoming the challenges of losing the existing Democratic infrastructure that helped last time? And then how do you plan on kind of addressing that moving into this next election?
Well, it sure feels like I'm starting from ground zero, I can tell you that. And thank goodness for the Forward Party, which is going to help quite a lot in terms of infrastructure. First of all, there's no runoff. If there's a three-way race, you don't have to get to 51%. So I will get the benefit of 12 years of campaigning and name recognition. And I think I start this campaign fairly close to a third. And so it's a very different proposition if you're campaigning to get your numbers from, say, 29 or 30% to 35%. And so the need for infrastructure is very different. Point number one. Point number two, I've communicated with Democrats as much as anybody on planet Earth over the last 12 years. They know me. A lot of them are unhappy that I have wandered away, but there are also a lot of them that know me and trust me. My campaigning I suspect, is going to be largely towards peeling Republican votes away from Dan Patrick. Because my point of view is not only what's in my heart, but what I've learned from traveling around the state, I think is the majority point of view. And there's an awful lot of Republicans who are very, very unhappy with the guy. Our polling this summer showed that his approval rating is quite negative. Vouchers is a big part of it. THC is a big part of it. And so a lot of my campaigning is going to be going into Republican territories where they wouldn't give me a hearing and tell them, let's go back over this. And they wouldn't vote for me. I heard so many times, Mike, I'd vote for you, except I can't vote for a Democrat. And they have their reasons. It's a flaw in the two-party system. I get it. Well, now I come back to them and say, you'll not be voting for a Democrat, you'll be voting for an independent. And that's the path to victory.
Thanks, Mike. And right, I think we have time for one or two more questions. We have anything else out there? Yeah, Zane.
Sorry, I have just a quick one for Veronica and William. This might be looking ahead a little bit too much, but what would be an ideal, I guess, committee that you would want to serve on that you feel like would match the needs of your district, if you've thought about it?
I would love to get on the budget committee and trying to work on the balanced budget, but we'll see what happens. The problem is the question is going to be how many independents get elected this cycle. And there's a lot of independents running. If we can get enough independents and neither the Republicans or the Democrats have a majority, then you achieve the fulcrum strategy. Then you can go in and the independents can get together and go, okay, here's our terms of conditions. Here's the committees we want. Who wants to be speaker? First person to agree to this gets to be speaker. At that point, you've got control. I'm planning on the opposite, which is we don't have enough to achieve the fulcrum strategy. And somebody, Democrats or Republicans, is going to have power, and we're going to have to take the crumbs we get and work hard to develop the plan and develop the ideas we have and try and work with the semi-moderate people in Congress to get bills to the floor, to get things done. I've been thrown to the wolves before. I have no problem with that, and we'll see what happens. But yeah, I'm not going to set up a wish list of committees. To me, Veronica's focused on other stuff. I'm focused on budget, Social Security. I do agree with her. I agree healthcare is important, although she and I differ on how to do it. And I also would like to work on energy. I'm ex-oil and gas, so we've got the energy would be a committee I would probably fit in very well with. But to me, the budget has got to be the focus.
Right. Veronica?
So I would want to be part of a committee that deals with our military, with our service members. Like I mentioned earlier, I'm a Navy veteran. My husband is an Army veteran. He served 3 tours in Iraq, once in Afghanistan. Believe it or not, all 4 of our kids served in the military as well. And I don't believe in these forever wars. I don't believe that we continuously engage in conflict overseas. So as a veteran, as a really military family, and as a mental health professional, there's no reason why we should put all our taxpayer money into these wars. We really need to invest and take care of our American citizens. So, and at the same time, take care of our service members. And by that, I mean providing them the services that they need through the VA, not just pushing pills on our veterans that are experiencing post-traumatic stress disorder, but opening it up to other mental health treatments. So if anything else, I would love to be part of those committees in order to ensure that our military and our military families and our veterans are very well taken care of, and that we stop giving more money to the military industrial complex. Thank you.
Thanks, Veronica. All right, we're at the top of the hour. Please reach out, especially if you have thoughts on tonight's town hall, what you'd like to see more of, what you liked about tonight. And if you have thoughts or ideas as we head into the state convention, and when we think about the candidates that we've talked to tonight, candidates we may have on in the future, you can reach us at info@texasforwardparty.org. You can also reach Veronica, William, and Mike on their campaign sites. I'd encourage you, stay in touch with independent candidates like these 3, whether it's volunteer or just staying informed. We will have call to actions that help lift up their campaigns, put them in touch with, supporters that are interested in helping get them on the ballot. And we will also, coming out of the state convention, have a very direct line of sight of the actions we want to take to help support both in signature gathering and then moving into the summer to endorse candidates and help them into the general election. So from the bottom of my heart, the efforts, everything that's been going on the last couple of weeks, the number of leaders here at the Forward Party that have stepped up, we wouldn't attract candidates like Veronica, William, Mike. There are at least 2, if not 3 other independent candidates I saw in the chat that are on here with us tonight. They're here because we're doing something special here. We're out there in the public. We're building a community for independent thinkers. And by all means, you're going to find when you tell other friends, family, neighbors, the values and what we're trying to do here at the Forward Party, you're going to find open arms and people that actually want to talk about how politics should work. And it's such a warm and rewarding feeling. And so I can't thank you all enough for the work that we've done. We've only gotten started. And please go out, support candidates like Veronica, William, and Mike. And we will be letting you know about some other candidates real soon to start engaging with. But thank you, everyone. Have a great evening. Have a great week. We will be talking soon. Mike, William, Veronica, thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone.
All right. All right, everyone.